What's up everybody, how's it going? Hope you guys are okay. I just thought I would do a quick video for you guys today on 3 really important things to know when you're trying to make some big changes in your life, okay? So we can decide to make a change for whatever reason. That could be trying to implement something new, or it could be trying to replace a bad habit with a new one. And the 3 really important things I just wanted to know, so wanted you guys to know. So whatever reason you've decided to make the change, sometimes the biggest thing actually people find is trying to actually, first of all, deciding to make the change, whether they believe they can do it or not, and then trying to actually stick to that change. So these tips will kind of address both areas for you. So the 3 things to focus on is, number 1 is trying to focus on building the new, and that's particularly when you're trying to replace a bad habit with a new one. And I think actually that framework is sometimes better to use than trying to instill a new habit already, because the thing is, if you've already apportioned time for a bad habit, if you exclude for just a second the psychological barriers and the psychological pathways of addiction to a bad habit, but you've already carved in your day that time for the bad habit anyway, so logistically it's easier to replace one thing with another. And you'll see that frequently, whether that's people who are really good at studying, whether that's people who are really good at changing their diet, losing weight, gaining weight, that sort of thing. They tend to actually just make small changes based on their existing routines rather than just reconstructing a whole new cycle from the beginning. So I think that's really important to bear in mind when you're trying to make changes. It's best to try and replace one habit for another, whether that's a worse habit for a better habit, or whether that's just a bad habit for a good habit, or just any neutral habit really. Just trying to swap them is easier than maybe trying to instill a new habit altogether. So that's something that I think is really important to know when you're trying to make change. And number 2 for you guys is that, so in terms of making changes, when you're deciding to make the change, it's really important that you believe you can do it, and you've decided in your heart that you want to do it, because again, there are some things in life we can control, there are some things we can't control. Some things you're just born with, and unfortunately, as unfair it is, you have to live with them. You can't change them, and other things you can. But and no matter how many places you go to, no matter what resources you put into this, if you don't believe in your head, or what other people tell you, what kind of coach or any kind of mentor you get, if you don't believe in your head that you can change something about your life, it will never change. It's very unlikely to change. There might be 1 or 2 exceptions, but generally, if you don't believe it's going to change, you're probably not going to be as committed to making the changes as you could be. So that's number 2, and that's really focusing on the attitude. So you have to believe you can change, okay? And number 3 is, sometimes, if you're trying to compare yourself to your past or something, just know that some things can't really be the same after changing, whether that's something changing for the better or something changing for the worse. So, if you make really good changes in your life, sometimes you might lose some people, or lose some connections with some people, or sometimes if you sustained a loss or like a significant life event, sometimes your mental state, it might not exactly be the same as it was before. And it's really important to just remember that, because again, you'll be going through the stress of that change, as well as additional stress of trying to compare yourself to before and trying to match up to it. So, that's why I thought it's really important for you guys just to bear that one in mind. You might not always get back to your baseline, or you might not always return to things as they were, and that's not a bad thing. You can actually improve and be better in other ways, and be glad for those changes that happen in life. Yeah, just know that sometimes you can't get back to that, so don't always compare yourself to that standard all the time, otherwise it's going to be quite difficult. And an example in Japanese culture, which I thought was really good and poignant about this point that I was going to talk about. Again, I'm not Japanese, so I hope I'm not misappropriating people's culture, but it was a really beautiful lesson, so don't mind if I just steal it for this video. So I think it's called Kintsukuroi, or Kintsugi, or Kintsukuroi. I'm really sorry. I'll put a link in the, or I'll put the text in the description. But it's basically, essentially, it's a pottery, and when something breaks, or they break a bowl or a cup, they actually replace that with gold. And I'm not sure how common it is anymore, but just the idea I was reading about is really nice. It's to celebrate that changes, and the process of breaking and repairing something is something to be celebrated, rather than something that we should try and hide and kind of cover it up. So I thought that was really good in terms of looking at change, and how sometimes you can't always be the same forever, and things do change you in some small form. So I thought that was a really beautiful way of illustrating it. So thanks for that, Japanese culture. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, these 3 things to bear in mind when you're trying to make some big changes. As always, take care, peace out, and shoot me a like and a subscribe. Drop a comment down below. The comment, if you made it all the way, just comment change. So there you go, guys. Take care, peace out.